What if I told you that right now, inside your tiny apartment, yes, even if you have zero outdoor space, zero gardening experience, and zero fancy equipment, you could grow 5 specific vegetables that could save you over $50 every single month on groceries? And here's the part that's going to shock you. Some of these vegetables are becoming so expensive, so hard to find, and so controlled by big farming companies that there are actual conversations happening right now about whether regular people like you and me might lose the freedom to grow certain ones at home. I know, that sounds wild, but stick with me because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which 5 vegetables to grow, exactly how to grow them with almost no space, and exactly why starting today, not tomorrow, not next month, but today, might be one of the smartest decisions you make this year. But before we dive in, I need you to do something really quick. Hit that subscribe button right now, tap the little bell icon so you never miss a video, and smash that like button because every single like tells YouTube to show this video to more people who need to see it. And trust me, people need to see this one. Also, watch this all the way to the end. Number 5 on this list is the one that blew my mind. It's the one nobody talks about, and it's the one that could save you the most money. So don't skip ahead. Every single vegetable on this list matters. All right, let's get into it. You know, I talk to people every single day who say the same thing. Lizzy, I want to grow my own food. I really do. But I live in a small apartment. I don't have a backyard. I don't have a balcony. I barely have a windowsill. And I always say the same thing back. That's perfect. You have everything you need. Because here's the truth that the gardening world doesn't always tell you. You do not need a farm. You do not need a big backyard. You do not need raised beds or a greenhouse or expensive soil. Some of the healthiest, most delicious vegetables on this planet can grow in a pot, on a shelf, next to your couch, right there in your 1-bedroom apartment. And here at Grow with Lizzy, that's exactly what we're all about, showing everyday people that growing food isn't some complicated thing reserved for farmers and experts. It's for you. It's for me. It's for anyone with a little bit of curiosity and a little bit of sunlight. So today, I'm going to walk you through 5 vegetables. 5 real, practical, delicious vegetables that you can grow inside your apartment starting this week. I'll tell you how much money each one can save you, I'll tell you what you need to get started, and I'll tell you why growing your own food right now is more important than it's ever been. Let's start with number 1. Number 1 on this list is green onions, also called scallions. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Green onions? Really? That's your big opener? Yes, and here's why. Green onions are the gateway vegetable. They are the easiest thing you will ever grow in your entire life. I'm not exaggerating. If you can put a stick in a cup of water, you can grow green onions. A 5-year-old can do this. I've seen 5-year-olds do this. Here's all you do. Next time you buy green onions from the store, don't throw away the white bottoms with the little roots. Instead, stick them in a small glass of water. Put them on your windowsill and wait. Within 3 days, you'll see new green shoots coming up. Within a week, you'll have full-sized green onions ready to cut and eat. And here's the magic part. They keep growing back. You cut them, they grow again. You cut them again, they grow again. One single bunch of green onions from the store can keep regrowing for months. Now let's talk money. A bunch of green onions at the grocery store costs about $1 to $2, depending on where you live. If you use green onions regularly in soups, salads, stir-fries, eggs, tacos, you might buy 2 or 3 bunches a month. That's $3 to $6 a month. Not a huge amount by itself, but remember, this is just vegetable number 1. We're stacking savings here. And the cool thing, you literally spend $0 extra growing them. You're regrowing something you already bought. It's free food from trash. How amazing is that? Now, here's something important. Green onions are also one of those crops that big agricultural companies don't really focus on because the profit margins are small. They'd rather grow and sell the big stuff, corn, soybeans, wheat. But that means green onions are sometimes the first to disappear from shelves during supply chain problems. We saw this happen during recent shortages. Shelves went empty. Prices jumped. When you grow your own, you don't worry about that. Your kitchen windowsill doesn't have a supply chain problem. Let's move to number 2. Number 2 is lettuce and salad greens. Now, lettuce is one of those vegetables that seems cheap at the store until you actually start paying attention. A head of romaine lettuce costs about $2 to $3. A bag of mixed salad greens, $3 to $5. And it goes bad so fast. You buy it on Monday, and by Thursday, it's a soggy, slimy mess in your fridge. You throw half of it away. Raise your hand if that's happened to you. I know it's happened to me so many times. But here's the beautiful thing about lettuce. It grows incredibly well indoors. It doesn't need intense sunlight. It doesn't need a big pot. You can grow it in a shallow container, like an old baking tray or a plastic storage bin with some holes poked in the bottom. You sprinkle the seeds on top of some soil, mist them with water, put them near a window, and in about 3 to 4 weeks, you've got fresh, crispy, beautiful lettuce leaves ready to pick. And just like green onions, lettuce is what we call a cut-and-come-again plant. That means you don't pull the whole thing out. You just snip off the outer leaves, eat those, and the plant keeps growing new ones from the center. 1 container of lettuce can feed you salads for 2 to 3 months straight. Let's do the math. If you buy 1 bag of salad greens per week at $4, that's $16 a month. A packet of lettuce seeds costs about $2 and gives you enough seeds for an entire year. The soil costs maybe $5. So for about $7 total, you get months and months of salad greens. That's a massive saving. And here's something that should concern you. Lettuce is one of the most recalled vegetables in grocery stores. E. coli outbreaks, contamination scares, it happens almost every year. When you grow your own lettuce at home, you know exactly what's in your food. No pesticides, no mystery chemicals, no scary news headlines. All right, number 3, and this is where it gets really exciting. Number 3 is fresh herbs, specifically basil, cilantro, parsley, and mint. Now, technically, some people might say herbs aren't vegetables, and that's fair. But I'm including them on this list because they are some of the most overpriced items in the entire produce section, and they grow like crazy indoors. Think about this. A tiny little plastic package of fresh basil at the grocery store costs $3 to $4. You get maybe 10 leaves. 10 leaves! And half of them turn black before you use them. Meanwhile, a single basil plant on your windowsill, a plant that costs you about $2 as a seed packet or $3 as a small starter plant, will give you fresh basil leaves every single week for months. You just keep pinching off the top leaves, and the plant grows bushier and gives you even more. Same with cilantro, parsley, and mint. Mint, by the way, is almost impossible to kill. It grows so aggressively that outdoor gardeners actually complain about it taking over their gardens. But in a pot inside your apartment, it's perfect. It stays contained, and it gives you endless fresh mint for tea, salads, smoothies, or just making your apartment smell incredible. Now, let's add up the savings. If you regularly buy fresh herbs, let's say you buy basil, cilantro, and parsley once a week, that's about $9 to $12 a week. That's $36 to $48 a month just on herbs. Growing them at home? Maybe $10 total to get started with seeds, small pots, and soil. After that initial cost, it's essentially free forever. And here's why this matters even more right now. There have been increasing discussions in certain countries about regulating seed sales. Some large agricultural corporations have pushed for laws that would make it harder for regular people to buy, save, and share certain seeds. They want to control the food supply from seed to store shelf. Now, does that mean your basil seeds will be illegal tomorrow? No, of course not. But the trend is concerning. And every time you grow your own herbs from seed, you're taking a small but powerful step toward food independence. You're saying, I don't need a corporation to feed me. I can do it myself. That's powerful. Don't underestimate it. Let's keep going. Number 4. Number 4 is cherry tomatoes. Okay, now I know what some of you are thinking. Tomatoes inside an apartment? Lizzy, come on. But hear me out.
because cherry tomatoes, specifically the small, compact varieties, are one of the best apartment vegetables on the planet. There are special types of tomato plants called dwarf or micro varieties. They were bred specifically to grow in small spaces. Some of them only get about 12 inches tall. They fit perfectly in a medium-sized pot on a sunny windowsill or next to a sliding glass door. They do need more sunlight than lettuce or herbs, about 6 to 8 hours of bright light per day. So if you have a south-facing window, you're golden. If not, a simple grow light, you can find them online for about $15, will do the trick. Now, here's where the savings get really interesting. Cherry tomatoes at the grocery store are expensive. A small container, those little plastic clamshell boxes, costs about $3 to $5. And if your family likes tomatoes in salads, pasta, snacks, or sandwiches, you might go through 2 or 3 of those a week. That's $6 to $15 a week, up to $60 a month on tiny tomatoes. One single dwarf tomato plant can produce dozens and dozens of cherry tomatoes over its growing season. Some varieties produce hundreds, all from one plant in one pot in your apartment. The initial cost? A few dollars for seeds, some potting soil, and a pot. Maybe $20 total if you're starting from scratch. And if you save the seeds from your first harvest, you can grow next year's plants for free. But here's the bigger picture, and this is important. Tomatoes are one of the crops most affected by climate change and supply chain disruptions. Droughts in major tomato growing regions have sent prices skyrocketing in recent years. In some countries, tomato prices have doubled or even tripled almost overnight. When you grow your own, even just a little bit, you create a buffer, a safety net. You're not completely dependent on what happens thousands of miles away. Okay, are you ready for number 5? I told you at the beginning, this is the one that blew my mind. This is the one nobody talks about, and this is the one that might change how you think about food forever.
Number 5 is microgreens. Now, if you've never heard of microgreens before, let me explain it really simply. You know when you plant a seed and a tiny little baby plant pops up out of the soil? That first little sprout with the tiny leaves? That baby plant, just a few days old, is a microgreen. And here's what's absolutely mind-blowing about microgreens. Scientists have studied them, and they found that these tiny baby plants can contain up to 40 times more vitamins and nutrients than the full-grown vegetable. 40 times! Let me say that again so it really sinks in. A baby broccoli plant that's only 7 days old can have up to 40 times more nutrition than a full head of adult broccoli from the grocery store. That's not a typo. That's real science. And growing microgreens inside your apartment is laughably easy. You don't even need deep soil. You can grow them on a thin layer of soil in a shallow tray. Even a recycled takeout container works. You sprinkle the seeds densely, mist them with water, and in 7 to 14 days, you have a tray full of fresh, crunchy, incredibly nutritious microgreens ready to eat. You can grow microgreen versions of broccoli, radish, sunflower, pea shoots, kale, arugula, the list goes on and on. And the cost savings? This is where it gets wild. At health food stores and fancy grocery stores, microgreens sell for about $4 to $6 for a tiny little container. Some specialty microgreens go for even more. If you eat them regularly for health benefits, you could easily spend $30 to $50 a month. Growing them at home, a big bag of microgreen seeds costs about $10 to $15 and gives you enough for months of growing. The trays cost a few dollars, the soil is minimal. Your total monthly cost to grow microgreens at home is probably $2 to $3. That's a savings of $27 to $47 per month from one item. But here's the part that really gets me fired up. Microgreens represent something that scares big food companies, because they prove that you don't need massive farms, huge distribution networks, or corporate food systems to access incredibly nutritious food. You can do it yourself, in your kitchen, in 7 days, for almost nothing. And that challenges the entire model that the food industry is built on. There have been pushes in some places to regulate the sale of certain sprouting seeds, to require licenses for people selling microgreens, and to create rules that make it harder for small home growers to share or sell their harvest. Some of these regulations are framed as food safety measures, but the effect is the same. They put barriers between regular people and their ability to grow their own food. That's why growing microgreens right now, learning how to do it, doing it consistently, and maybe even teaching your friends and family how to do it, is an act of quiet resistance. It's you saying, "My food freedom matters." All right, let's zoom out and add everything up. Green onions, saving $3 to $6 a month. Lettuce and salad greens, saving $12 to $16 a month. Fresh herbs, saving $20 to $40 a month. Cherry tomatoes, saving $15 to $30 a month. Microgreens, saving $27 to $47 a month. Even on the conservative end, picking just a few of these, you can easily save $50 a month. That's $600 a year, just from growing a few plants in your apartment. $600. Think about what you could do with that money. And the savings aren't even the best part. The best part is the feeling of walking over to your windowsill, snipping fresh herbs, picking a ripe cherry tomato, cutting a handful of crispy lettuce, and knowing that you grew it. You made it happen. No store, no supply chain, no corporation. Just you, some seeds, some water, and a little bit of patience. That feeling is worth more than any amount of money. And I want to be really honest with you for a second. The world is changing. Food prices are going up. They keep going up. Every time you go to the grocery store, it feels like everything costs a little bit more than it did last month. And it's not your imagination. It's real.
Supply chains are fragile. We've seen it with lettuce shortages, tomato price spikes, and herb recalls. One bad weather event on the other side of the world can empty shelves in your neighborhood store. And the conversations about food regulation, seed control, and corporate ownership of agriculture are getting louder. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not saying that government is going to ban your basil plant, but I am saying that the trend is clear. The more food independence you have, the better off you'll be. Starting a small apartment garden isn't just a hobby. It's a smart, practical, empowering decision. And the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. I want to leave you with a picture. Imagine 6 months from now. You walk into your apartment after a long day. You're tired. You don't feel like going to the store. But you walk over to your little windowsill garden, and there they are. Bright green onions standing tall, fresh lettuce leaves fanning out, fragrant basil filling the air with that warm, peppery smell, tiny red cherry tomatoes glowing like little jewels, and a tray of vibrant microgreens ready to harvest. You didn't spend a dime at the store. You didn't drive anywhere. You didn't stand in any checkout line. You just reached out, picked your food, and made yourself a meal. Fresh, healthy, free, yours. That's not a fantasy. That's a completely achievable reality. And it starts with one seed, one pot, one decision. You can do this. I believe in you, and I'll be right here showing you how every single step of the way. Now, if this video inspired you, if it made you think even for a second, you know what, I want to try this, then please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button right now. It sounds like a small thing, but it genuinely helps this video reach more people who need to hear this message. Every like, every share, every comment tells YouTube that this matters. Speaking of comments, drop a comment right now and tell me which vegetable you're going to grow first. Is it the green onions, the lettuce, the microgreens? I read every single comment and I love hearing from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe and tap that bell so you're the first to know when I post new videos about apartment gardening, food freedom, and living a healthier life without spending a fortune. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being part of this community. And thank you for believing that a tiny apartment and a big dream can change everything. I'll see you in the next one. Keep growing.